Welcome back to Power On Weekly for the week of June 14th through the 20th. My name is Irving Legend. I am your host. Joining me this week is your co-host,
Allie Mayhem.
Happy belated, we're recording this on Father's Day, but happy belated Father's Day to everybody once you're listening to this. All the papas out there, happy
Papas?
soon to be papas, yeah. Happy Father's Day to my dad. I love you, Dad, very much. I look up to you a lot, and I hope that I could be as good of a dad as you. Because I think I turned out pretty all right. And
White.
Yeah. And also happy belated / early, because again we're recording this on Sunday, birthday to Allie.
Hey.
To Allie, the solstice, the summer solstice baby.
Yep. Summer solstice queen.
Yep.
Born on the longest day of the year. My poor mother. Longest day of her life. Longest day of the year. Well, unless we were in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'd be the opposite.
Is it the shortest?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's the winter
Yeah, 'cause
solstice over there.
Yeah, they're in winter.
Dude, the world is wild.
The world is wild. Summer baby.
Summer baby Allie. Yeah, so everybody make sure to wish Allie a happy birthday. Yes, of course. Now let's jump right into this week's topic, which is the second part of E3. E3 is far behind us now. It was a blink and you missed it kind of a thing, even though it felt like the long, not even the long, it just felt really short, even though it was technically long. Is that fair to say, Allie?
It was like a summer solstice and a winter solstice. Go on.
Perfect analogy.
Very confusing.
Yeah, so like I said from our last episode, we recorded on Sunday, so we still needed to see what Nintendo had, Bandai Namco and Capcom. And one of those three actually was, I feel like, good enough to have an E3. The other two are just another blink and you missed it. I've been seeing a lot of memes where it's like, Ubisoft is like worst presentation, and it's like hold my beer. Square Enix, oh hold my beer. Capcom, hold my beer. Oh, Bandai Namco. But we'll get into it in just a bit.
Yeah, well, we'll have our thoughts on here.
Yeah. We'll start off with Nintendo, because Nintendo actually showed a lot of things. They had about a 40-minute presentation that they had. Allie, I was right. There was no sign of the new Nintendo Switch. We said it right before our last episode, right before the next day.
I know. Like I said, my prediction wasn't like, I for sure think it's going to happen. I know you discussed like the lack of chips, and I did. That was the only reason that I was like, yeah, I mean, chances are it isn't going to happen the way I called it. I was just trying to shake it up, make it interesting, and hoping to see something just like a little not as predictable, I guess.
Yeah.
But I was wrong.
No, for sure. I think we were playing devil's advocate regardless of that, because we had already did our predictions, and technically I did predict that the Switch was gonna, but I swapped the last minute. We've been watching the challenge. I put a Tony and voted in Johnny Bananas.
Tony time.
Yeah. They did not show the Switch Pro, if it even still exists. Now I'm like doubting everything, but they did show Breath of the Wild at the end, but we will get to that. We like to do the presentations in order, so we'll talk briefly about a lot of things, but I do want to go into depth on a few things that were mentioned. Right from the get-go, Super Smash Bros, they announced their new fighter, Kazuya Mishima from Tekken. I thought this was a cool little teaser that they had. They really trolled everybody by having Dead Ganon being like, carried across, and I was like, oh my god, it's Breath of the Wild. Nope, no, it's not. So I thought that was hilarious. The little what was it? Kirby floating at the end was even funnier. Yeah.
You're like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm out.
So Kazuya is gonna join Super Smash Bros. They talked a little briefly about his like movesets. He's got a massive moveset, and
that list was so long.
It was like never ending.
Endless.
Yeah. And I don't know if if that means that his special moves are also incorporated with his like normal standard moves, or that's how you do combos or something, but like that was just a little overwhelming. But they are going to do a separate Nintendo Direct. I think it was the 26th of June, where they're going to show off more in depth for this character. So look forward to that. I know a lot of people were not happy about this, but at this point, I think people are also getting their expectations way too high about Super Smash Bros. I think with them just starting off so strong with like Joker and a bunch of other people that never would have thought been in Super Smash Bros. I think people are like expecting way too much of them right now. And this makes more sense as far as like crossover things happen, right? And it's a fighting game and it's a beloved character ish, you know. They could have had Jin instead, but I think this is a good character as well. Go ahead.
Well, so am I like making stuff up? Like, or weren't they supposed to like have like a limit on the amount of characters they were even gonna add? Didn't they say like we're only adding like 5 more characters and that's it? Or am I making stuff up?
I think so, but like the people were buying the DLC packs like nothing, so they, you know, they were like, "Oh, money." So yes.
So they're past that though, right? They're past like the
They're-
threshold of what they.
They're technically on season 2 of like the DLC characters, and they have one more character from this season 2 that they're
Oh, so
going
it's
to announce.
Seasons.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, who knows if they do a 3? I think they did say like this is it, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, it would seem silly to not keep going.
Honestly, yeah. But I think Masahiro Sakurai is just over it. He's just like, please,
Tired.
like, let me just retire.
And pass the throne, you know?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, pass the baton.
Yeah, I don't know. I think anything new is probably good for the game.
Yeah.
The continued support is good for the game, but
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I don't know, people are like, it feels like no one's ever happy with the announcements.
Nah, I don't think so.
But also, there are a lot of Fire Emblem characters, and I don't even play it.
Yes.
So,
One of the
at least it's not Fire Emblem.
True, that's true.
Swordsman.
Another sword character, yeah. One thing I am excited about this is the music, because the music in Tekken is so good. And I hope that they have like the announcer as well. That'd be really cool. But moving on, Life is Strange Remaster got an announcement as well. Guardians of the Galaxy, the one recently announced game from Square Enix, is also coming to the Nintendo Switch. I doubt it looks like that. Worms Rumble could not hold a steady frame.
I was gonna say, one thing I want to mention is like Worms Rumble, Astria Ascending, like Monkey Ball, like
The Guardians game.
there
yeah.
were multiple games in a row where it was like the sample of the game, which was 30 seconds, had frame drops.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how bad are the frames on these games? You can't even get a sample clip for a 30-second ad without frame drop. Like, oh.
Yeah, we need that Switch Pro if we're gonna like play the Guardians of the Galaxy game specifically like that. I mean,
Bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Worms Rumble didn't even look like it was that heavy of a load, and
Yeah.
it could not hold more than, like you said, like 15 frames a second. It was bad to watch.
it was a little rough. 2 Point Campus did hold up as far as frames, but yeah, that's another game. Super Monkey Ball Mania 20th Anniversary Edition basically is 3 of the games remastered from what I picked up from that trailer, because they showed like a lot of games and then they showed like 3 and they're like, oh, these 3. So a little confusing, but they
Yeah, not very straightforward on what exactly it is or it's in it.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean, if you're a fan of Monkey Ball, then you know Super Monkey Ball, then the 20th anniversary just right up your alley. It seems like a lot of mini games are also included in that, so looks like a lot of fun. Speaking of mini games, Mario Party Superstar. Mario Party Superstar was announced for October 29th for the release date. It's a collection that has classic Mario Party boards and mini games, 5 boards from the 64 generation era, including Peach's Birthday Cake and Spaceland. We didn't see any other ones, but those boards are great. Over 100 mini games from across that series, the 64 series. So I think it's a good collection, and all of these modes will be available with online play, which is great because they just recently did that with the most recent Mario Party.
Well, that's clearly why they released it for the new Mario Party.
Imagine.
'Cause they were clearly making an online version for this release,
Mm-hmm.
and thank goodness included it as an update in the new Mario Party. That would have been bad if they didn't.
Yeah, that would have been really bad. Ellie, you've talked before that the most recent Mario Party it's fun, but the boards are terrible because they're so simplistic and you kind of just get locked in one area or something like that. Does this excite you? Because these are some of the best like boards if you really think about it. The Game Grumps played the Spaceland one recently that we were watching. So what do you think about these boards?
Sucker for Mario Party in general, but I'm you know, I'm excited and I'm not. First off, I would have rather have seen this as like a DLC because it's going to be another $60 game
True.
that's repackaged stuff that we've already played.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm a little peeved about that. I would have liked to have seen this as a DLC for the current Mario Party as like a, hey, here's some stuff to add into the game you already have. And like, I don't know that really would make a huge difference in gameplay and everything. But like the thing is, it's like what they're offering is great classics. It is exactly like the thing says, like superstars of that era. And they're remastered and they look beautiful. Especially like you said, we just watched Game Grumps play the one, and like so to like have it fresh in our mind what it looked like and fresh in our mind like what this new one it looks amazing. But I don't know, it's just classic Nintendo repackaging, reselling, and I'm a sucker who's gonna eat it up. But I don't know, like I said, I would have liked to have seen this as DLC. I would like to see them continue to support the Mario Party that's out with maybe DLC packs of like new maps and stuff. But like you said, like, yeah, like this Mario Party has been fun. The new one.
Yeah.
But the maps are small. They're not that good. They're not that strategic. You literally in like a 10-turn thing can go around it multiple times. Like, I think the maps haven't been good, and I would like to see new maps for that versus playing maps that we have played multiple times. So I'm back and forth on like how I feel. These are good, these are solid, we know they're going to be fun. And the sad thing is this will probably be more fun than the current Mario Party because they are really good, big, solid maps with all these obstacles and things to do. So I don't know though. I don't know if I would. It's like that weird moment of like a part of me wants them to have continued to support this one, get DLC, get us some new maps, get us better maps. But if they didn't, at least we know these are solid. Like, these are good maps.
For sure. I would have to agree with you as well. I think this is a very nostalgic bait as well. I think, but like you said, we're going to eat it up anyways. But I do agree with like maybe doing more DLC or adding, had this been added to DLC for like the existing Mario Party. I think that would have been cool. But I mean, it is Nintendo. So yeah. Big surprise after this was Metroid Dread, really, scheduled for October 8th release. Now, they did mention Prime 4 is well into development, but they didn't have anything to show for it. This is the first 2D Metroid game in 19 years. The last 2D Metroid game was Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance. And this game is a direct follow-up to that game, ending the 5-part story that started from the original Metroid. So this game has also been like heavily rumored and in development for 19 years. It was supposed to end development or like be released in 2007. But clearly that didn't happen. But I don't know if that's the same game we're getting now, or if they just kind of shelved it. Then what I heard is that the things that they wanted to do, they didn't really have the technology for back then, but now they do. This is also done by the same team who did the most recent Metroid 2D game, which was on the 3DS, which was called Metroid Samus Return, which was a remake of Metroid 2, basically. So I have high hopes for this game. Someone did point out that the art style it's cool, but like the level design is really simplistic and boring compared to other 3DS game or DS games, like, or no, not even DS games, Game Boy games, like Metroid Fusion. Metroid Fusion was amazing. That was such a good game. But I hope that they kind of fix all that up. We got a new suit, new enemy as well, the Emmy, which was everyone was memeing was basically GLaDOS.
It really did kind of look like GLaDOS.
Yeah. And during the Treehouse live thing they did right after this presentation, they basically showed like half the game. You were watching it and you just had it on playing in the background and you're like, wow, they're really going into this.
Yeah, I like texted you and I was like, they're showing gameplay, but we were kind of both on like the same thing of like, I don't recommend really watching it though if you want to play the game. Like, I think it was like almost an hour.
Yeah.
It was almost an hour and I was like, I'm not planning on playing it. I have no anything. I've never played Metroid.
Yeah.
So for me, I was just like, oh, okay. Like, and like, I was thinking like, oh, it'd be like 20 minutes. It just kept going and going and going. I was like, wow, like they got really far in.
Yeah, they when you texted me and I was working, so I was like, okay, I'll like join in. Started watching the stream and they were talking about it while they were playing it, and I realized they already had the missile and they just got the charge shot, and I was like, whoa, dude, like they're already like getting power ups and stuff. Like this is no, I need to not watch this because from what it seems they played a good chunk at the beginning, so. Who knows? But I am genuinely really excited for this game. I love 2D Metroid games. The creator of Metroid also said he'd want to see more 2D Metroid games, and I guess he got his wish because here we go. A little bummed Metroid Prime wasn't shown, but I completely understand because we already talked about it to death that this game had to restart its development. So I'm also not surprised that Metroid Prime 4 wasn't not shown.
Well, and this was a complete surprise too, right?
Yeah,
Like,
genuinely it was.
No hints of it really, so
No, I mean, like
something.
like I said, the last time we heard about this game was back in 2007. So yeah, everyone probably thought that it just got canceled. So yeah. All right, moving along. Just Dance 22 also was shown off. Cruisin' Blast
I was disappointed there was no performance.
Oh, that's only at Ubisoft presentations. Yeah. Cruisin' Blast. I think it's a spinoff of the original Cruisin' USA, Cruisin' World. You know, the arcade games that you play, the little card ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those games at the arcade. So yeah, I think that's also a continuation of that. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot plus a new Power Awakened set. Wow. Well, if you've never played Dragon Ball Z or don't know the story of Dragon Ball Z, then
here's your chance.
Here you go. Even though
and probably in less time than the episodes.
True. Mario Golf Super Rush also got shown as well. Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin also got showed off. This trailer actually made me kind of excited about it because up until now I had no idea what this game was about, but this seems like it's kind of like a Pokemon but with monster hunters. So I'm like, this is like you collect monsters and you like hatch them and then you use them in battle, in turn-based battle more specifically. So I'm like, is this like a Pokemon kind? It kind of feels like RPG Pokemon style. Like I'm kind of about it now. They do have a free trial that's coming out, and I'm gonna try out that free trial as well. WarioWare, get it together. WarioWare is such a fun franchise. I know you have no idea about that game.
None.
It's just a collection of just random, like, obscure mini games in the most obnoxious way possible, but they're so fun. And you have like a little objective you need to do. You have like a bomb that's like ticking down, and you have to complete the objective. And it's always something super weird, super Japanese. Like, I think you would really, really like it. It is also 2-player co-op as well, so this is such a fun game. I'm genuinely excited WarioWare got announced as well, so this is super cool. Shin Megami Tensei 5, they showed a very long thing about that. I have no idea what that series is about, but I'm sure a lot of people are super stoked about it. Danganronpa as well is another series that I have no idea about. All I know is that they have some very gruesome deaths, and I think this might be either a new game or a remake or something. Fatal Frame, Maiden of Black Water. Again, I think that's a new game.
That is a series that I've always wanted to play that I never have. So
yeah,
I would actually be interested in finally being able to like run up.
Definitely. We've got some news for Doom Eternal DLC. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 is coming as well to the Switch. Strange Brigade, fun game that we play, the 3-player co-op game. That's also coming to Switch. They talked about Mario Rabbids, Advance Wars 1 and 2. I know a lot of people were losing their minds about Advance Wars. And they almost trolled us again with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity expansion pass wave 1. People were not happy that this was like shown because they thought this was going to be the last announcement.
Yeah.
So yeah. In celebration of The Legend of Zelda's 30th anniversary, they're also releasing a Game & Watch on November 15th. Very similar to the Mario Game & Watch that was released recently. It comes with the original Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, Link's Awakening, and Zelda 2 Adventures of Link and Link's Awakening. And there's also a vermin themed Link themed game that you can play from the original Game & Watch. It also has a play clock as well, so it's a little collector's edition thing. I think it's super cool, and I know a lot of people were really, really stoked about the Mario one that they had. And last but not least, Allie, we finally saw it. We finally got a glimpse. Breath of the Wild 2. Breath of the Wild 2.
I've been waiting forever.
Yes, I know you had no. There was no official release date given. All we heard is 2022. They said that this was just
Better
a little
than
snippet.
nothing they've been giving. So
That's true.
people
And
stop complaining.
it blows my mind again that people were thinking this game was coming out this year. Like, I cannot understate how like just confusing that is. No official date was released, like I said. No official title has been given either. They said that the title would actually spoil the game. There seems to be some new powers. Time manipulation seems to be something that's there within the trailer that was shown. And fan theories are going crazy right now. People think that there's two links. One of them, the two links that were shown, one of them is a real Link or this Link, and then the other one might be Zelda, or it might be Ganon from back then. It makes sense with the whole time thing, but I have no idea. I never played the original, so I don't even know where the story is right now, but people are going crazy.
The only thing I don't understand is why you would have a spoiler in your title.
Yeah.
And like, how is not announcing the title now going to make any difference when you do announce the title? Because if the spoiler is in the title, it doesn't matter. Before they get their hands on the game, they have a spoiler. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand the logic in that, except that they're just like, oh, we'll let the fans go crazy with these theories for the next 6 months, and then we'll announce it. But I don't.
Yeah, unless
I don't understand.
Unless the spoiler has something to do with like time, like Breath of the Wild, or Breath of the Wild time, or I don't know, something. And it's like, well, you showed it in the trailer, but I have no idea either.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is a little weird. But for those who were excited about this, you finally got a little bit of it, but you're still gonna have to wait a lot more for this. Now, not shown was Bayonetta 3, no Splatoon, and no new Switch. And I don't think any of that surprised me. Overall, what did you think about the Nintendo Direct, Ellie?
It was good. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of new stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, there's some in here that is, like I said, like remakes and rehashes. But
yeah,
I think just compared to pretty much everyone else, it was pretty solid, and it shows that they have a lot they're working on.
Yeah,
a lot that we don't even know about. Like I said, like Metroid, they've been working on that, and no one had any idea. So it's just like, it just shows that there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. To be fair, there are only just a few games in here that were brand new. Metroid Dread, WarioWare, maybe Shin Megami Tensei, but I think people already knew about. The Fatal Frame, I'm pretty sure nobody knew about. And we've already known about Breath of the Wild, but they're actually showing it. So, yeah, I agree with you, but I also do see a lot of ports that are coming of it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess I just mean like more, it's on par with what they normally do.
Yeah.
And again, with all the, slowdowns and potential road bumps from the pandemic over the past year and a half.
Yeah.
I think it's a good portfolio, and I think it's a good amount of announcements. So I think given everyone else at E3, I think this was a good showcase.
I agree. I do think this was one of the stronger showcases up there with Xbox. I think they were very similar in the sense of like things that we already knew about, but brand new things as well. And like you said, considering the state of the world for the last year, this is a impressive amount of things that they did announce and show, as opposed to their other peers who are at the show. So overall, I enjoyed everything Nintendo showed. Like I said, I'm very excited about Metroid Dread. Mario Party, I'm still stoked about as well. And Monster Hunter, I'll give a shot, as well as WarioWare. I'm genuinely really excited about that. But let me know what you guys think about the Nintendo Direct. Did it meet your expectations? Were you very disappointed or what? Let me know in the comments below. Let us move on to Capcom, Bandai, and everything else, basically. Bandai Namco, they showed one thing, I think, that was new. We had already known about Scarlet Nexus. We've been seeing that a while. They showed it last year as well, I think, during the Xbox showcase. Elden Ring, they had already done at the Jeff Keighley event. but the new game is House of Ashes. It's part of the Dark Anthology franchise, the Until Dawn team, basically. And that's basically it. So nothing really else needs to be said about Bandai Namco. This could have been an email.
Well, I don't understand why you wouldn't hold on to Elden Ring for your own showcase if this is all you have to show. Like, or release the House of Ashes somewhere else as well and just not have a showcase.
Yeah.
It seemed like an email could have been sent.
It could have, yeah, or just do a trailer later on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of, as well, the Capcom. So they doubled down on Resident Evil 8. They said that Reverse, the multiplayer mode that was supposed to launch with Resident Evil 8 is coming July 12th. They also, in a very brief, quick little snippet, literally text on a black screen saying that they're making DLC for Resident Evil 8. What that tells me is that was never intended. That was never planned, because just the way of that was set, it almost seemed like, wow, okay, Resident Evil's really popular. 8 was sold super well. I guess we'll make DLC because, money. It was just a little strange to see that little splash thing that said, "Oh, by the way, we're working on DLC. More info to come later on." So I don't know. Maybe I'm just pulling at strings, but that really doesn't make me think that there was anything planned for Resident Evil 8. Would you agree about that, or am I kind of going off?
I didn't even see the text, so that shows how quick it was. And
yeah,
no. I mean, if they couldn't even mention it verbally, it's definitely
or details of what it could be.
I don't even think you need to details, but if it's literally text on a screen, it's literally throw that in there so that get people hyped.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Like I said, Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin has they showed a bunch of post-launch content as well as some crossover events with Monster Hunter Rise. There is a trial version available on the 25th. And all your progress could be transferred over to the full game if you end up buying it. Monster Hunter Rise is also getting some updates as well as a crossover event from Stories as well. You can get armor and stuff for your Palico from Stories, and vice versa. I think you can get a monster into Stories as well. So a lot of Monster Hunter stuff. I didn't really expect a lot of anything else from Monster Hunter, to be honest, besides these two things. I know that there are very small rumors that Monster Hunter Rise is coming to PC, which I don't think that's real, because if that was the case, that would have, I don't know, they could have released this on other consoles as well. I think Rise is specifically for the Nintendo Switch, so
yeah, it seems like that's their exclusive.
Yeah,
since they used to hold exclusive rights, they're kind of this is ours.
Yeah,
this is our draw.
Because if you think about it, I don't think World came to Switch at all. It only came to Xbox, PlayStation, and PC.
Oh.
I mean, that's where people are getting the idea that it's okay, well, that World was ported to PC a year later, but maybe Rise will do the same.
Why would they do that though if it's exclusive to Switch?
Mm-hmm.
And people who, World, for a lot of people who aren't really into Nintendo and didn't have the handhelds, that was their gateway into it. So now it's a gateway into Nintendo being hey, you want more? You got to come buy a Switch now. It would not make sense on the exclusivity level for it to then be ported to PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. Because that is the one thing that's keeping me from getting into Rise is the Switch, unfortunately. I don't see the Switch being the main console that we use. It really isn't. The buttons are terrible for that game. They're so small.
Funny, so it's actually a hindrance. Yeah. Ironically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless Monster Hunter Rise isn't getting the numbers, that's the only time I could see maybe them trying to cut the exclusivity. But even then, I'm sure if Nintendo has that sweet exclusive deal, they're keeping it. They're not gonna give that up.
For sure. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Now, I know that the Great Ace Attorney franchise is very beloved by those who are big fans of it. I've never played one. This looked a little trailer thing that they did. It looked a little campy for me, so
it's very campy. Yeah. I never played it, but I had friends who would play it on the bus. I'd watch them, and it's something. It's something.
So there's a new one coming, and that's it from the Capcom show. That's it.
Who was worse, Bandai or Capcom?
Bandai, hands down. Because they showed Elden Ring, but not at their own showcase, But with that being said, let's go into our overall thoughts about E3. I pose a few questions to you, Ali. Should E3 even have happened? I know we talked about it beforehand, and we were really stoked that it was happening because it means a lot to like the gaming community. It's a Super Bowl, everyone joins together. Showcases are here and there. You get to see what everyone's been working on. But I think with the state of the world, that actually made it even more of a disappointment because people are they have these high expectations of what E3 used to be and should be, but we're not seeing that because of last year. What do you think about E3 this year?
I mean, the thing is, we went in with low expectations, and it was still kind of a disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how much lower expectations could have been for this to be good, but that's also not on E3. That's on the developers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I think it still should have happened. What I don't get though is why they didn't condense it down. That's my complaint.
You mean like instead of like a 3-day event, instead like condensing down to one? Because like to be fair,
Yes.
there was more than just these developers there. There was like showcases, there was like Verizon, there was like Razer, there was a bunch of like interviews. Like I saw a lot of Skype calls of just people faces talking about things, and like that's all cool, but what people are here for are for the E3 like news and everything. All that other stuff you get behind the scenes when you're there.
Bonus.
Yeah, you get behind the scenes when you're there physically at the event, or like if you're media, you're covering the things that were talked about and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, how I see it, because like you said, it wasn't an in-person event. So the 3 days, like you said, that's time for people to go to meetings, to go to these conferences, to have multiple conferences happening, to have fans go play and try the games. Like, so to structure it as if it was still an in-person event was kind of a weird call, especially when there wasn't a lot. Like a lot of these presentations were a lot shorter than they normally are. Because usually they have like a performer or something gimmicky to make it more interesting. This just felt like it was just a bunch of companies putting together their videos. The fact that it was like you watched for an hour or two and then it's like, okay, well, that's it for the day. And then you had to wake up again the next day and set time aside to watch it again and then do it again on Monday. It was actually very frustrating. I would have rather have spent an entire day sitting there watching everything. Have it Saturday be the big day. Everyone makes their announcements. Here's the schedule. Here's 5 to 6 hours of content. That would have been more exciting. And then all that other stuff is bonus if you care to know more about a certain project or a company that's releasing, like Razer, the tech side of it. Or that should have all been bonus, because if you're only there for that announcement too, you're not going to stick around for the other stuff. It doesn't matter. You're just making it more inconvenient for people to watch, because you're taking what could have been done in a day, spreading it over 3 days. Like, you missed stuff because you were at work. Things like that. Like, I don't think it was the best call or the best layout. Because by the time Monday came around too, I could give a less.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
It's like
Censor. But yeah, I mean, like I strolled out of bed and I was like, oh yeah, Nintendo's on. I should probably turn it. Like, I didn't care. I was already like kind of over it.
Yeah, I think the lack of showings didn't help either, because it was, like you said, it was like spread out for so many days that when you did get, Gearbox, and you got, Bandai, and you got Square Enix, it was very underwhelming, because it was like, I set aside time for this, or I could have gone and done things or whatever. But I agree with you that maybe it should have been two days max, maybe 1 day better. But because that is something that you mentioned right away when we were watching, I think the Microsoft Bethesda, then we watched Gearbox, and then you're like, that's it? And I was like, yeah, we gotta wait till tomorrow. You're like, that's annoying. Like, what the heck?
It was really annoying. I was expecting to sit there for a while.
Yeah.
And then like the second Microsoft event, I didn't even watch because that was on like a 4th day or something.
That wasn't even a part of E3. It was just a day that they were gonna do later, which I want to talk about very briefly. But go ahead.
Yeah, but I was still like, I think just like how underwhelming everything was. It's like, so here I am sitting here underwhelmed, and now I have to get up tomorrow and set aside time again to watch it. I mean, given of course you could rewatch the what's it called?
Yeah.
That is the difference. It's not like you had to be there for it. But I honestly, at this point, kind of, if we didn't have the podcast, that's what I would have just probably done. Was I would have waited till Monday when everything was announced and then gone through the catalog. Yeah. Like if we didn't have to like kind of know the things going on to talk about something last week, because it was, I don't know, like just the span of the 3 days, it was like I said, yeah. So you went one day underwhelming, into the next day underwhelming, and like I said, the third day Nintendo delivered, but it was like, but I didn't go in excited.
Yeah,
I went in like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah.
Like it's just too much drag. It was way too much drag, because at least if you had it all in like one day, like if something was disappointing, you're like, oh, that was disappointing, but all right, like blah blah blah's up next, and it would have just kind of, you would have gotten all those positive and negative emotions out in one sitting, not going, oh, that was it, that was 2 showcases, the one was good, the second not so, and then the next day, oh, those both sucked.
Yeah,
like it wasn't a good feeling as going into to the next day.
For sure. I do want to preface that, like, before we get in, because I like everyone's like, who won E3 here and there. Look, all I want to say is like we might be disappointed. We might be like really like, it sounds like we're really like putting all these devs down and stuff. We understand how difficult everything has been. We went into it knowing that as well. I give nothing but praise to all the people that have been working so hard to create games, to make entertainment, because all of this is a luxury, really. I really want to praise anybody in the industry right now, especially the last year, because it's an immense like challenge that they really had to take. So my heart goes out to them. I really praise anybody who even showed anything at all. But what we're just talking about now is more a sense of like just the events as a whole, as opposed to like, you know, each individual. Yeah.
Again, because we also like went in like keeping our expectations low. I think it kind of comes down to just how the event was run at this point, where it's like, oh, kind of like it wasn't exciting.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily all the developers' fault. Like I said, E3 could have scheduled this to be like, all right, like this year's going to be different. It's not going to be normal. But let's keep like, you want to keep that train rolling, right? You want like, it's like an avalanche. You want that to keep going. You don't, well, I guess you don't really want an avalanche to keep going, but
you want a
like
snowball.
A snowball. Yeah. You want it, even if there's like some bumps, you want it to keep rolling. That's more the issue, was the minute that like snowball stopped, you're like, okay, like the next day you have to get it pushing again. And the second day it did not push. It did not budge. That third day they really had to push it, but it eventually started rolling, but it wasn't at the same momentum. Like it's, you know, it's just, I think that's the best way I can describe
Yeah, no, that's a great analogy for sure. Do you think it was smart that EA and Sony were not a part of E3? Like we had talked about EA being like, oh, we're gonna do our own event in July, and we're like, oh, like why not be a part of it? Like, do you think them being there would have helped it, or do you think them being there would have just made it, I don't know, not worse, but just like they would have gotten in the crossfire of like how it was portrayed?
It would have helped. It would have helped the event itself, because it would have, anytime there's more to talk about, there's more to talk about. Like that's the whole point of this event. Is even if it's even if you talk about being disappointed, it's something to talk about, and it would have filled in some of those weird time gaps maybe.
Yeah.
And two, like this was so lackluster that EA and Sony might have had a lot more like people would have talked about it.
They would have talked about it more, because in comparison to like other publishers, maybe they had had better showcasing. As now, like what if they don't deliver?
That's exactly it. Because now if they don't shine at all, like it's, oh, they had that event and we forgot about it.
Yeah.
Here, yeah, there's a chance that they would have had, like you said, like, oh, at least they weren't as bad as Bandai, like, or like, I don't know. I get it. Like I feel like there's a very fine line and a hard line to figure out which side to be on as a developer. Do I do my own thing and really I'm the only thing that's talked about, or do I come into the showcase and then I'm up against competition?
Yeah.
But also it's like, what do Sony and EA have to worry about? They have some pretty solid things they're working on. They have some solid franchises and brands. Like, go at it, you know? Like, yeah, like this year they would have probably, I don't know. I see both sides. I see why they would and why they wouldn't want to. But I think it would have made the event
Something
better.
tells me that they, specifically Sony, they don't have a lot of show, and that's why they didn't do it. there's rumors that there's going to be an event in July, but it's going to probably focus very specifically on on something, on a game, right? Kind of like they did for the Horizon thing that they did last month, I think. EA, on the other hand, I feel like it's the same thing as well. They showed Battlefield during, Xbox's showcase. That's a part of EA's franchise. Like, you're going to show more Apex DLC probably that everybody already knows about, that usually we get, videos on it every so often anyways when a new season comes out. Like, maybe there's the Fallen Order game, another Star Wars game that they're, no, I think that's Mass Effect, actually, never mind. Yeah, but I have no idea. So maybe they should have been in this, because now if they don't deliver in July, then it might be a little underwhelming.
I set time aside for July for you, and then this is all you have to show me. Or versus like here, it would have been like, oh, well, I was planning on, there's all these showcases. Here's one benefit to being in something like an E3 is people maybe who don't care about EA's games would still probably watch it because they're waiting for whatever's next. Or
True.
you actually probably get more eyes versus the people who are specifically there for your brand in July.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe I kind of feel like again, like for me, E3 should be like an all or nothing. It kind of is disappointing to see EA and Sony kind of stepping away, because yes, it's competition, but also it's just always kind of been like that nice, like we said before, that nice joining. If even Nintendo, who do their own things, want to be a part of this because they're a part of the gaming space, it just seems like I said, like if you people who don't really care for most EA games, like it's still more people watching your presentation than that maybe aren't interested, but then maybe something sticks out. They're like, oh wow, like it's. I think any opportunity to get your eyes in front of more people is a good thing.
Yeah, like I mentioned, also Xbox did have a separate showcase on Thursday, hosted by Paris Lilly. I just want to give a big shout out to him as well. He did a great job. He actually committed a murder on online and got away with it. They were showing the Xbox Design Lab. They were showing a controller. And he and a friend, a colleague of him, have had an inside joke about how whose cooking is worse. And he actually scribed on his controller, Khan can't cook. And he talked about it and everything, and he just annihilated that man. He really just put him on blast. So I thought that was hilarious. They actually let him do it. Xbox thought it was so funny, and they let him just do that. So shout out to him. Personally, if you don't know, he has his own show, I think, called Gamertag Radio. He is also a part of Kind of Funny. I think he does the Xbox show XCast. Really, really cool guy. I've been following him since he joined. He was invited to be on Podcast Unlocked with IGN. They invited him. That guy is awesome. That I really look up to that guy. He has really gone out of his way to like make his dreams come true and dive into this industry. Sort of how like I want to do as well. So I think it's super cool, and congratulations to him on doing that showcase. That showcase was a lot of things that we've already seen. He was talking to the developers of the things of like Forza and like Halo and all these different things. It was more of like a sit down conversation that they had. They also did show a little bit of Hellblade 2, but nothing new-ish basically came from that. So, but I did want to at least give a shout out to that, because even though it wasn't part of E3, I still think it was a really important showcase that they sent. And that is basically all we have for this week's episode. Like I said, this was E3. The past episodes have just been E3 news, and we are done with that for now. I guess the next thing we look forward to is EA's presentation and presumably the Sony event, if that does happen. I think we've said our piece about this, our thoughts about E3. Is there any last minute things that you want to say, Alyssa? Nah. You're like, nah.
I'm over it. I'm over E3.
Yeah. Well, here's to next year. Hopefully, when things go back to normal, people can actually go to things. And, maybe these developers, all they needed was just this year to actually, get their stuff together from the speed bump that they hit from last year. But that's all the time we have for this week's episode. A little bit shorter, but, we still wanted to give you guys an episode. And, yeah, that's it, I guess. So I don't know.
You okay? Malfunction.
Yeah. Let me know what you guys thought about the Capcom and Bandai showcase that they had. Let me know who won E3. I think Xbox won, but that's just my case. let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Have a great weekend, everybody. Happy Father's Day. Happy belated birthday to Allie. Don't forget. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
Bye.